Let's get stuck into it. So I'm Ash, the founder, CEO of Empiraa. Come to you live from Melbourne, which is fantastic. We've just opened up our branch, or we're about to open up our branch in Denver, which is going to be absolutely terrific. And one of the reasons it's exciting for Empiraa right now is because of what we're doing with API, especially. Now, the reason why we've gone with APIs versus your standard integrations, number one, it's a very costly affair and very inconsistent affair when it comes to integrations. Integrations tend to break and tend to be not as consistent for the user. And we felt that from day one, it was really important to have a product that's really consistent and helps the user automate the data flow in a real simple way. So for us, automation is the key, and using tools like our API tool, as well as tools like Zapier or Power Automate, really make it a simpler process for you. And we're all about simple here at Empiraa. So the examples today I'll be using is purely using Zapier as the third-party automation tool. There is other ones out there like make.com, Tray, Power Automate is another one, but our big one, honestly, our one that we use the most is Zapier, because honestly, it's really simple. People find it really difficult sometimes. They get their head and they go, "Oh, automation, this is so difficult." And APIs are difficult. Well, APIs used to be difficult. There's no doubt there, but with the tools that are available to us now, it makes life really simple. So what I'd like to do also too, if you do have any questions that you want answered, feel free to pop them into the question and answer down the bottom, and we will get cracking. So let me start by showing pretty much what we've got here. So we've got a standard Empiraa plan. So this Empiraa plan is your pretty basic one. What I've done here is I've been able to build out a little pillar, and it's a webinar pillar. So you've got your own pillar, guys and girls. So you could be excited by that. But we've created three things. We've gone project completion, so we can show the percentage of things, because three different ways we measure a success of a plan, or how a plan's tracking, and it's by metrics, it's by percentage, and it's also by financial. So we've got OKRs and KPIs both been built into the platform. The reason why we've done that, to be perfectly honest, is because there's such a debate, what's a KPI, what's an OKR? So for us, it was like, let's be like that taco kid, why not have both? And then people can create things in their own framework. So yeah, really kept it simple. But you can see here, we've got here project completion, donuts sold, because everyone loves donuts, and sales are cool stuff. So we're not entirely sure what that cool stuff is, but we'll let you come up with it. Here you see, if you go to developer.empiraa.net, that's your development portal. Now, sometimes you see the word developer and you go, oh, how much is that going to cost me? Well, guess what? Empiraa's API is free. And the reason why it's free and it's part of the platform, honestly, because we just want to make it simple. We feel that data automation really helps you tell clear and concise stories about what your business is doing, and it allows you to understand, without human biases, what's actually happening and how you can make some course corrections along the way. So let's have a look here. So you'll see this nice little page, users. We've got two servers at the moment. So there's the people in the good old USA, and then you've got the Aussies, which is great. So, and we're based in Australia right now. So to get started, there's a bit of a dialogue here, a bit of information. We also do have a help desk that will be able to help you here. So if I put in help.empiraa.com, you'll see there's a knowledge base right here that you can actually access, and there's actually stuff around the API integration. So if you do have any questions after this, our knowledge base is there to help. So let's quickly go back to here. So if we go back to the get started, so it's got a bit of information there, and you've also got the knowledge base. So you've got dual information. Now we want to move to APIs. Now, so our APIs here are all the different endpoints. So we've got notifications, which gets notifications out of Empiraa and puts it into either an email or a Slack or Teams messaging system. Great way to find out how your plan's going, and because everyone's using different systems these days. We're allowing people to sort of create their own workflows, and I'll get into that soon. Objective ID, so this returns all the objective data, excluding the actual value. So it actually gives you a rundown of how your objective's going at any one time. Post, I'll touch on that in a second. Objective actuals, so it returns all your numerical data, so all the data. So this is great if you want to use a Power BI, Airtable, build spreadsheets around your Empiraa data. This is a great way to do it. Same with this, if you really wanted to get super technical and super into the weeds, these ones here, and we can do it in an advanced course in a couple of weeks and show people how we can get into it. The objective of today is to really give everyone just an overview and then allow people to reach out to us, and we can start creating some integrations for you. Objectives, this returns all the objectives that you've currently got. Teams, so you can see all the teams as well as users. Post is where we'll be playing the most, no pun intended. This actually pulls data from your systems where it's HubSpot, Safety Culture, Job Adder, spreadsheets, and post it into Empiraa. So one of the questions that we got quite often was, does this connect to ... Does this connect to ... And we sat there and as a team looked at it and went, well, we can create 2,000 different integrations. We don't have milk run money, so we're going to have to try to figure out our own way to do this. So we kept going back to seeing there's a real shift to no-code APIs and looking at this, and we went, well, actually, this is not that hard. And I'm a non-technical founder, so I was able to pick this up pretty quickly. And that's why we wanted to put together a video that we could use as a resource to help our users on the daily. But we'll go back to this post objective actual, but let's go to the profile. Now, this here gives you a nice little profile. So this tells us who you are, your name. I'll put James Smithson as our API keys. So what we've got here is all the tenants that I sit on. So what that means is a tenant is basically all the accounts. We used the term the other day was an API key unlocks the shed and unlocks the lockers, and then and then the tenant ID unlocks the lockers. So if you think about it, the API key opens the door and then you walk straight through. On this one here, we're going API test. So there's a tenant ID here. We'll copy and paste that one for right now. If we go back to API, so once again, we've got this objective actual, which is what, the objective actual. So we want to post some stuff, but we want to actually try it and say, how does this work? So let's go try it. And you'll see here, it's got this little value, and it'll say value is required. And that was that little tenant ID that we had before. So once again, we're trying to unlock the API, the Empiraa API test account, which is this one. So if we go back to here, you'll see here, API test account. Is that putting 2 and 2 together? So, so let's go back here. You'll see that the tenant ID is inserted there. We've got the API key, which is hidden. And then we go, let's send and see if this works. Green is good. Green is always good. Unless you're a Lakers fan, Boston sucks, but green is good. So you want to, and it'll actually pull data and it'll say, okay, this is actually works. So this page here is exactly what we want, because now we'll go into this little thing called Zapier, because now we've tested the API, it will work. Now we want to get it into our third-party automation tools. And this is Zapier. So as I said before, Zapier is an extraordinarily powerful tool. And you've got these things called premium webhooks. And I'll show you how all this works. So if we want to create a Zap, we click it open and it will say, from here, it will go, what do we want to do? So right now, for this particular example, we want to look at all the sales here of the cool stuff. We want all the sales of the cool stuff, and we want to pull all the sales through our spreadsheet into Empiraa every time there's a sale made. So we want to understand, okay, what's actually, what's being sold. Now, theoretically, why I'm showing the Google spreadsheet versus Stripe versus Xero, it's just a lot easier just to show this way. But theoretically, once you've done it this way, you can pretty much do it anyway. You could pull it off Xero from this point. You could pull it off Stripe from this point. This in particular will really, this area here where it says the app that you're pulling it from, really will just depend on what app that you want it to pull from. So this here is, we're using it for the sake of just a simplistic tutorial. We're using a Google spreadsheet. So what we're doing here is we're saying we want every time there's a new spreadsheet row updated, and it's on this one here. So you can see here there's sales. So every time there's a new row, it will pull that data from that row and put it into Empiraa, which is awesome. So we go click, we add our Google Sheet. We pick the spreadsheet, so it's webinar data. So you can see here, webinar data and sales. And if you look here, sales. So it's pulling from the spreadsheet and it's pulling from that worksheet. And we go continue. And you see here, it says, we've found data, which is great. I always like it when they find data. So you can see here, row three, that all lines up. So it's pulling data directly from that spreadsheet. And now this is the important part. How do we get that from there and put it into Empiraa? So this is where the fun begins. We've got post. So what we want to do is we select webhooks by Zapier. So that there is a premium offering, but Zapier is cheap as chips. And to be honest, for probably the $30 a month, I think it costs for Zapier. It's not just for Empiraa. You could use it for pretty much every part of your business to really automate and data flow. We get nothing from Zapier, so this is not a Zapier, I'm not a Zapier influencer. I'm not an influencer or anything, but I'm certainly not a Zapier influencer. I just think this is an awesome tool. Now, what we want to do is we want to say it's a post. So if we go back to here, you see it says post, and we want to make that a post. It's also making sense, point A, point B. So you can see here the URL. So that what that URL is there, it's saying we need to grab this information and we need to point it from your API call. So you can see here, we've got posts. So if we scroll down, you can see we've got the tenant ID, and we go past the body for a second and we go to the HTTP request. And all we do is we go highlight that and we place it there. Really simple. Now, this is where we want to make sure that it's a JSON. Someone asked me what a JSON was the other day, and I kept thinking Donovan, I kept thinking Stephen. I can't remember. There's actually, if you want to know what a JSON, I'm not a technical founder, so this is probably a perfect example of someone that's not super technical being able to build out an API and integrate it to their system. So it's probably a good advertisement for that. But so it's a JSON, whatever that is, Google that. So what we want to do here is you'll see here, it's got objective ID, date, value, and process type. So these four things are really important because what this is doing is it's telling Zapier what are the things that they need to pull out of the Empiraa API to put into Empiraa. So what we want to do is we want objective ID, as you can see here. We put that one in, we put the date, we put the value, and we put the process type. So we follow that format really, really simply. And by the way, once you do this once, it's done for this particular objective. You don't need to do it again. You do it, if you run a plan for 12, 18 months, 2 years, you're running off the one database, it will continue, run plan, it will continue to pull off it. So it's probably one of those things that probably takes a little bit to set up, not a great deal. I think we timed it at about 4 minutes per zap. Once you set it up, and then you can start duplicating as well, which is a really cool thing in Zapier, but I digress. So if we go here, objective ID, 1750. Where did we get 1750 from, you reckon? Here, at the end of each objective, you'll see, so if we go back and we click on this little thing here, and you'll see 1750. So those 4 digits go here, because what it's doing is it's saying, pull out the data from this and put it into this. Now the date, so we click on here and it'll come up date. So we want to select the date. We click on here and it comes up with the spreadsheet data. We put the sales there. What also too we want to do is we want it to increment. So increment is just adding it. So what Empiraa's API does, it'll actually continue to add. So if you can actually make it so if you're doing sales calls, you can have it so it's every time a sales call comes in, you just change the value to 1. You take that one out, you put it to 1. So every time a sales call comes in, you make it, and it'll just continually add. So you're sitting there looking at your plan in live time going, okay, we've set 50 calls to be done this week. Holy crap, they've done 52. Why? Because it's pulled it out of your particular source, and because it's adding as it goes. So it's a pretty cool little powerful tool. Then we go here, we put the API key in, and then we test it. So if we go here, we retest the action. And then we go to here and we refresh it. And it's put $1,200 in there. So it's pulled the 1,200, which is perfect. But what we want to do right now is we want to clear that. The reason why is because we haven't published it yet. So if we go back here, refresh that page. It keeps pulling it back. It's always the way. And say up. Probably even better if I submitted the data. Remember that time I could use my own platform? That was a pretty good day. Now, if we go back here, it's 0. So now we go to sales. We retest the action. We've done that. And now we want to publish. So we'll turn it on, enable publish version. And now it will start pulling it through. Go back to the thing. And you'll see it's on now. So if we press run, we don't need to. So it's easy. And now we'll start updating the data into Empiraa. So every time a sale's done, it will pull into Empiraa. So it hasn't just that naturally, because, you know, when you do these things, it never happens exactly how you want it to. But yeah, it'll start pulling data into Empiraa. Now, we can also do this in project completion. So this one here, if we click here, so if we go to project completed, so this is a percentage one. Now, percentages are interesting because you can actually use percentages. We get asked a lot about, does this connect to task management tools? Does this connect to Asana, Workday, Monday.com? Yes, it does. And this is once again the same sort of principle, that you can connect it to those platforms. And once you connect it to those platforms, you'll be able to measure the percentage. All you need to do is select percentage of that particular project, and it will pull through to Empiraa as a percentage. But as you can see here, we've set up pretty much exactly the same thing. And what it will do, it will actually post on this one, which is really interesting, what we've done here. Before, when we had it as increment, a process type increment, now we don't want to do that, because all we want to do is just set the number. So every time it's updated, it just pulls that particular number, because we're not trying to add it. So all we want to do is we want to pull that across. So if we go continue, retest action, and if we go over to here, and we go to project completion, you'll see it's 25% through. And if you go into here, you can see it's 25%. So it's pulling it directly through. So same sort of theory with Empiraa, same sort of thing, that when it's enable publish. Yeah, same sort of thing. So it's really, really simple. Now, this is where we get really tricky. This is where I thought, you know what, people want to know, can you also get stuff out of Empiraa, which is a question that gets asked a lot, which I'm all for. So let's have a look at this one, donuts sold. Once again, love donuts, who doesn't? So let's edit this zap. So what we've done here is created a little bit more of a complex workflow, but what it actually does, it pulls data from the spreadsheet. So that could be your Salesforce, it could be your HubSpot, it could be your safety culture, it could be your job ad, it basically could be anything. So it pulls that information out of there. As you see, same sort of thing, trigger, webinar data, sales, pulls that data in, posts it into Empiraa as we set up. We've set this up as an increment because we wanted to add, because it's a sales data. Put our stuff in there, retest the action. $125, blah, blah, blah. Let's go over here. Yep, so donut sold, perfect, 125, all lines up. Then we go connect. Then we want to do is we want to go, okay, we've actually put data in there, but we want to tell people we've done that. So it's like, okay, we've put data in, but we want to tell everybody. We've got Slack, we've got Teams, we've got whatever. So we actually want to start telling people. So what we want to do is we want to do a get. So if we go back to this little sucker, we want to get the notifications. So let's go back and get the tenant ID. And we go try it because try it is fantastic. And we go send, and see, once again, comes back, it says, yep, you've done what you needed to do, and it works. That's what we like to see. So we want to get, we've put for that particular objective, which was 1751 here. So we go back to now. So we get objective notifications. Now we can actually put the notifications for that particular objective, which is here. We put 1751. So if you want to, every objective that you have, if you want to put a notification, that's, it becomes out here. So all you do there is you put the parameters 1751, and then you put in here, because what it does is it automatically puts all that in there. Then we put that over to here, which is great. We want send as a JSON, no, and then we tenant ID, we go okay, and then we go continue. Now we want to start sending stuff to Slack and Teams, because we want to tell everybody that we've done it really well. We've done an awesome job. So what we've done here, we've connected up to Teams. Now with Zapier, make sure you've downloaded the Zapier app on Teams, because otherwise it won't work straight away. So you need to make sure you download the Zapier app. With Power Automate, a little bit different. We'll do a Power Automate session in a couple of weeks. But what we want to do is we want to send a channel message. We've got my email. And then we go, we put all the information in here. So we go action, and we want to test it, retest. And you can see here that I've put in here objective. I've put in a message in there, which is really, really simple. And it's sent to our Microsoft Teams. So if I share this one, it says here, our objective in Empiraa is kicking goals. We've just sold another 125 donuts and we're getting closer to 500. So that's our target number. And that's how many donuts we just sold as we pulled out of that spreadsheet. Check out our progress, and it'll actually link directly to Empiraa, which is really, really, really cool. Go back here. But you know what? We're one of those weird companies that runs on 57 different thingos. So we want communication systems. So what we want to do is we also want to send a Slack channel message. So here we go continue, and we want to create the action, which we'll be able to test. And I've written in here that we're sending it to as a bot message. We've sold another 125 donuts, and we go publish that. Now let's just test the action first. And now Slack's come up with a nice little notification. And here we go. So now it's come up, kicking goals of our game plan in Empiraa, because we love game plans here in Empiraa. We just sold another 125 donuts, getting closer to our goal of 500. Check out our progress here. And then a little Daniel Bryan, yes, because wrestling. And then we go publish, and we put V2. So every time now that row updates. Now you might not want to do this on high volume sales or high volume things, because it would probably get a little bit annoying, but every time that updates now. So if we put the sales, we put 04, 18, 2023, and put 500. And then here we go 04, 18, 23. It'll start pulling across, and then you'll get 58 notifications, and then it'll pull into Empiraa, and then you'll start seeing that the donuts are updating, which is great. So that there is a very, very high level version of what our API does. The trick is, in all honesty, is to have Empiraa as you build your plan. And then from there, once you've built your plan, then you start connecting it to different data sources. Everyone's got different data sources. From there, it's super, super easy to use. It's one of those things that we looked at it and went, okay, well, we can build out really, really intricate integrations, but something simple like that. And we'll be able to provide heaps of information around all that, which is great. So yeah, I mean, that's basically it for us. Like it was I wanted to just do a quick half-hour session on how the API works. If you do have more questions, feel free to reach out to us on our website at empiraa.com. Go to the API section. If you've got more information that you require, which there's no doubt you will, go to help.empiraa.net and then help.empiraa.com, sorry. And we should be able to help you out. Pretty much we get excited by the different workflows and different data flows that are available. So definitely feel free to reach out to any of us. Feel free to reach out to any of your account managers or your partnership managers that are looking after it. If you have any other questions, feel free to reach out to me on ash@empiraa.com. But overall, look, I just thought a nice little half-hour lunchtime session to show everyone how it works. And then we'll send out all the information as required. So thank you everyone for attending. It's been, hopefully it was enlightening and hopefully it helps everyone. And if not, then let us know and then we can really help you out. But the key to it is just go out there and have fun with it and build out what you need to build out. It's very hard to break. So famous last words, I know, but yeah. Okay. Thanks very much and enjoy the rest of your day.